Look, you may not know who I am, and that's okay, but there is one thing that we all know as a fact. The fact that there is an extreme abundance of Roblox horror content. So if that's what you're interested in, then this video is perfect for you. So join me as I break down the Roblox horror iceberg. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Published by Prometheus Games in 2020, Granny is a game with over 510 million visits where you must escape a haunted house that is controlled by the Granny. You must avoid Granny as she is trying to eliminate you and complete all objectives within an in-game 5-day time limit to unlock the outside door, rendering your escape. While being a lesser-known game, eGross developed The Mirror with 32 million visits in 2019. This is a single-player psychological horror experience where you're locked in a chamber with a mirror and forced to stare in it. Over time, illusions become distorted, invoking a sense of fear. Being a hit game, Piggy was made by Minitoon with 14 billion visits in 2020. Having a relative concept to Granny, Piggy is a game where you are trapped within a chosen map with the pig. You must complete all objectives whilst avoiding the pig to escape. Created in 2024 by Coffee Cap with 26 million visits, Silent Mansion is a cursed place where you are the quote-unquote chosen one, challenged with lifting the curse. You must avoid the varying devils and spirits to survive and to uncover the secrets to break the curse. Survive the Killer is a hit game developed in 2020 by Slice Entertainment with 2.5 billion visits. This game is a round-based survival game with two different teams being the survivors and killers. If you are a survivor, you must avoid the killers until the end of the round, and if you are a killer, you must kill the survivors before the end of the round. Survivors have a heightened chance of surviving, such as crawling and hiding to evade a killer. Published by Society of Dark Mysteries in 2023 with 61 million visits, Faithless is a story-based retro horror game that consists of saving a game character named Billy, who has been possessed while having to survive challenges. This game has a good ending and a bad ending, which can be seen depending on your actions through your gameplay. Doors is a hit game with 7 billion visits developed by Splash in 2021. You must guide yourself through an infinite amount of hotel rooms occupied with varying puzzles and entities. Your objective is to stay alive as long as possible to complete the challenges associated with each room. Paranormica was developed by Brian Novius in 2020 with 123 million visits. In Paranormica, your objective is to visit varying places that are haunted with 5 other people. You must investigate your surroundings and clues to find an answer as to why it's haunted. Upon you giving the correct answers, you can complete the round and leave. The Maze is another hit game developed by Hyperslicker with 254 million visits in 2017. In this game, you must collect a flashlight and camera and travel through the cave next to the RV. When you reach the entrance, your main objective is to survive as long as possible and navigate through the maze, avoiding hostile creatures like the Orotund and the Cajoler. Published by Rancid Planet in 2022 with 17 million visits, inspired by classical PlayStation 1 games, your objective is to navigate a mine littered with traps, obstacles, and puzzles whilst finding keys and repairing elevators to progress through the game and receive varying endings. This game features solo or multiplayer where you must strategize with your teammates to complete the game. The Mimic is a horror adventure game based around Japanese folklore and urban legends developed in 2021 by CT Studio, gaining 1 billion visits. It consists of different horror stories with its own protagonist, monsters, environments, and settings. You must navigate these stories and complete puzzles whilst avoiding the monsters to complete the game. Developed by Oculus Anubis in 2017 with 320,000 visits. Vault 7 is an abandoned containment facility in an unknown location deep underground, housing several entities with its vaults. Different vaults can be accessible through higher level keycards. The objective is to simply survive or be a test subject to the different entities. Developed by Dean Hawks in 2018 with 152,000 visits. Exit here is surrounded by the lore that the character Dean Hawks suggested that he was living in a wasteland as his home was wiped out, and that he was the only survivor remaining. This game is connected to a broader standpoint of the Roblox lore community, but no one truly knows the legitimate reasoning behind the title of Exit Here. Developed by Mothman in 2024 with 5 million visits. Commonly associated with Roblox creepypastas, it was stated that a randomly selected player would receive a direct message from an unknown person that would lead them to the game Smile. Once inside the game, you are transported to a dark black room with the Smile head directly in front of you. This head will follow you as you move, and when you eventually reach the head and touch it with your Roblox player, it will crash your game. Developed by Mr. LOL Brains and originally released in 2015 with 750,000 visits. Sad Satan is a horror game that is accompanied by several remakes and copies of the original game, usually being in containment of illicit, explicit, or outright illegal material. It is rumored to be an unsafe game to play due to its contents, as you could contract the illegal material or any malicious viruses embedded within it. Paralysis was developed by Morbid Studios in 2014. You are to be spawned into a single-player maze game based around psychological horror as you may encounter hallucinative images and become paralyzed in fear. But one day a myth hunter named Mosesi spawned into the game, but this time it was different. He spawned into the game with another player on the player list. At first he presumed it was a glitch in the system and didn't think much of it. After walking around for hours and finally finding the end room, instead of it being the end that was expected, it was in fact an empty room full of blood. Upon this discovery, the player's mouse became unresponsive and footsteps could be heard behind them, giving off the impression that someone was behind them in real life. Suddenly their game crashed and the player decided to turn off their computer and call it a night. The player reported that his sleep was different that night as he woke up in sleep paralysis. But instead of being in the real world, the player reported his real-life body being in-game. He suddenly felt a sharp pain in his chest as he looked down to see a knife lodged into it, paralyzing him in fear. The player woke up and everything went back to normal, but a few days later there were articles and reports about other players having the same experience. One night, a player decided to log on to the Roblox website and play his favorite game called Mad Dreams. He played a couple of rounds until he encountered a mysterious bacon hair that sent him a friend request. The player accepted his request and sparked up a conversation with him. The bacon seemed relatively innocent and harmless until an abrupt shift in his demeanor arose as he started expressing his hatred towards people and how he wished he could take revenge upon all the people that harmed him. The players agreed to switch to a different game and the player joined his own game. It was a standard 2018 default place, but the bacon asked if he wanted to see his wife. Confused by his question, he said yes and they walked into the standard house and they were teleported to a new game called My Feelings. The house was new with 2 kids playing outside and there was a character with an interaction bubble above its head. The player clicked the bubble out of curiosity and that sparked a conversation, until all of a sudden he was surrounded by pure darkness. The player was abruptly brought back into the light, but this time it was different. The bacon was absent, the skybox was dark and luminous, the children were faceless and they were crying, pleading out to save them. There was a bubble above the child's heads, and upon clicking it, the player was granted a sword and was forced to kill them. As he used the sword on them, the children became disturbingly deformed and mutilated. As the children were bleeding, a woman could be heard screaming from inside the house, and the player was forced to kill the woman. Upon the death of the woman, a disturbing face was displayed. A screen then appeared to a mangled and deformed corpse, which made the player shut off his computer. He later tried to contact Roblox support, but he was told that the player doesn't exist by them. A player was sent a mysterious link on Discord to a game called Red World. He seemed displeased with the thumbnail as it was only a static image of a black screen filled with red pixels. But when he joined the game, the player felt a sense of chaos. It wasn't anything too crazy, just a red maze with no exit. The visual was accompanied by an audio that he said comes off as annoying, and it started with someone singing. The screen cuts to a woman speaking in an inaudible manner, and then another cut to a screen saying that he lost connection to the game. He knew the screen was fake as it was static like with red pixels. The player went forward into the game until he found a room. Upon entry of the room, the music changed to the sound of a as described woman screaming in agony with a glitchy radio effect to it. The player then saw a red flame coming towards him. The player did not react to it fast enough and the flame caught him. He was kicked from the game, and when he attempted to rejoin, a screen appeared saying that this experience no longer exists.